Alright. When variables are good, I think this is going to be our control test. We'll see what happens. Alright, here we go. Interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, not much is happening.
Mesmerizing.
Yeah, this isn't going to work at all.
No, I don't see. Doesn't seem to.
There's no, why are you touching it?
Doesn't seem to be doing too much.
Yeah, there's not a lot of wind activity here. We're gonna have to kick this up to see if this turd does anything in the wind. Just
ramp this up big scale.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a much better spot.
Yeah, nice and windy.
This will do just fine.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you ready to go film that Venom review?
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I think it's safe to say those experiments failed.
Epically.
Now the question is, a Venom movie without Spider-Man, is that an experiment that fails also?
Good question.
Let's find out. We're the Cinefanatics, and we're here for a Venom movie review. My name's Chris Adams.
And I'm Robert Adams.
Let's get into this.
Yeah. So we just got back from seeing Venom.
Yep.
And it actually wasn't that bad of a movie.
Yeah.
I know, like, Rotten Tomatoes is low right now. Last I saw it was, like, in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like general public opinion is that this is going to be a bad movie.
A turd in the wind.
We gotta stop saying that.
It's not gonna stop.
Oh, God. And it really is. I would say, in my opinion, that line is probably the worst of this movie. Or one of. Okay. This movie has its flaws.
It's got pros and cons.
That being said, this is going to be completely spoiler-free. So we're not going to ruin anything. We're not going to tell you this, that, and the other.
We'll let you see all that for yourself if you haven't already gotten into that yourself.
Yep.
Anyway, I think we start off with, well, let's start off with the cons and then get into the pros. For me, my cons were, I'll start off by saying the whole lack of Spider-Man. Here's the thing, my thing with this story was, this story felt like a complete story. It did in its own. Sort of. It's kind of, it felt like it lacked some substance to me. Like it was just a straightforward, like, oh, here's bad, here's good, let's move forward, got it. Sweet. But what I think is missing is that I think this story would have benefited from the actual Venom origin, the setup with Spider-Man, having the black costume, Eddie Brock hating Peter Parker, and Venom hating Spider-Man.
The other way around.
Did I mess that up?
Yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about the actual comics, you are talking about essentially
it's Venom hating Peter Parker and Eddie Brock.
Yes, you're referencing Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire and the really, really awful Venom by Topher Grace. And this is all we're going to talk about that movie. But yeah, in that movie, Topher Grace hates Peter Parker, Venom hates Spider-Man.
Okay.
Essentially. In the comics and pretty much every other origin of it, it's kind of cross. Eddie Brock hates Spider-Man,
yeah,
and Venom hates Peter Parker.
Thought it was over, didn't you, Spider-Man? You made a fool of Eddie Brock whenever you could.
Either way, I think this movie would have benefited from having that story told first.
Yes.
In a Spider-Man movie. Have it set up first in a Spider-Man movie, then spin off Venom into his own film, own franchise, whatever you want to do.
And both of us have sat here and talked about, like, if we were given the opportunity to talk to these studios, what would we do? How would we make this? We did a video, Fix It Films, with the Fantastic Four way back at the beginning of this year. This might be another one I would like to touch upon. How would we do the Venom storyline properly?
Yeah.
So we might do that at some point, maybe.
Yeah, and so for me, that was a big glaring miss. Like, and that's the thing. And I'll touch on a little bit of a pro here. I liked Venom as a character, including Eddie Brock, and just the way he looked, how they interacted. I think everything actually worked there. I think that Tom Hardy is definitely a huge saving grace for this movie. And so I think they had all the right pieces in place. I just feel like they missed
the Spider-Man piece.
The Spider-Man piece. The Spider-Man piece is necessary. And I think that is the big glaring fault of this movie in my eyes.
I thought some of the dialogue on it was a little clunky, some of the things. I mean, like the stupid line from the trailer.
It's heard in the wind.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of something close to that. Some of the dialogue, it looked like, was meant to kind of fill in gaps and holes between what we were just doing and what we're doing now. And, like, they're like, oh, okay, yada, 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 yada. Well, we did this over here, and here's where we're at now. And it was just some of the dialogue, like, again, was just meant to push the movie, and that was a little awkward.
Yeah, and then besides dialogue, as far as like the actual visuals of the movie go, like I said, I think Venom was fantastic. The symbiotes themselves
Looked good.
Did I say symbiote?
Symbiotes. The symbiotes.
Yeah, they say symbiote in the movie, but obviously those of us who have known the characters before say symbiote.
The symbiote, it's still alive. How? How did it find Brock?
Anyway, the symbiotes in the movie all looked good. The visual problem I have is the fight scenes. A lot of the fight scenes had that Transformers problem where there's just a bunch of...
And some of that is because, especially, like, say, the main fight scene is at night. It's between two liquidy symbiotes that are all doing this. You saw it in the trailer, but they're all... whatever. You can't tell who, in certain lights, who is what. And there was even there were things, like, in the trailer that I thought... When I first saw the trailer, I thought it was Venom, and it turns out to be another symbiote altogether.
Yeah.
And I was confused. Like, when I watched this movie, I was like, oh, well, I thought that was Venom in the trailer. It wasn't. So, yeah, part of that, yes, Venom looked fantastic. The other symbiotes looked really good as well.
Yeah.
I think they did a phenomenal job of fixing that little foible from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I think they for what this movie could do, they did save themselves a lot from the faults that they created in Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
And good on Sony for that, because 3 movies after Spider-Man 2 that were... and yes, I wasn't a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise as a whole.
Had its ups and downs.
We were waiting for can they do anything good with the Spider-Man franchise at this point? You know, after 3, I would say, bad movies, in my opinion.
I don't think this has completely tarnished it.
No, I think this is, despite the fact that there is no Spider-Man, I think this is at least a decent win in their book.
It's an entertaining movie. I overall enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think the big thing for me was that I went into the movie with low expectations. I would recommend you go into the movie with low expectations, because I think that's the only way that you walk out of the movie feeling actually entertained and good by it. You know, I went in saying this movie's going to suck, this movie's going to be awful, and you know, that is a mindset decided before going to the movie, and that's not necessarily something that's always recommended. But for me, I was able to walk out saying, actually, that movie was better than I expected. I was entertained by it.
And I think one of my pros, again, not getting into spoilers, but there were a lot of really good Easter eggs in this. If you are familiar with Venom, And I will say that this familiarity with Venom could be like you just got a basic knowledge maybe from the cartoons all the way to you are a diehard Venom fan from the comic books. There are Easter eggs about Venom aplenty in this. Just little winks, nods.
And they do some like deep cut ones too. Like you have to know.
Deep cut,
like,
yeah.
I even asked him as we were leaving, like I didn't understand this part, and he was able to explain to me. I was like, oh yeah, that's a deep cut.
Yeah. Cons with it.
I think I touched on a lot of my cons. Do you have any more cons?
I think like really the only other con I would have.
Oh yeah, at least one more.
Yeah, and while I enjoyed the movie, I think this one kind of killed some of it for me. Mm-hmm. It is a Marvel movie. There are mid-credit and after-credit scenes. I'm not going to go into detail on the mid-credit, but something happens in the mid-credits. It's a setup, and it just
it doesn't work.
I like the idea. I like what they were trying to do with it. It's exactly what I would want them to do in this movie.
The execution just didn't
Execution
work,
was terrible. Just,
So that's going to be our biggest fault. Again, we're not going to touch the spoilers. We're not going to tell you what it is. Just stay for the credits, and that's... You might have the same opinion as us.
And then at the very end, the after credits was a teaser for the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse cartoon that's coming out.
Yeah.
Not really a spoiler, it's just a clip from the movie that was pretty fun.
A little bit more than what you see in a trailer, just an extra clip.
Yeah. I was expecting the newest trailer that we reacted to, which if you want to see that, that's going to be right here.
Or up here. It's going to be somewhere up here.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, that's actually a great segue. We have a whole channel here. Did you know that? You're watching a video on our channel. There's so many other videos that we have for you to check out. We have trailer reactions, as he said. We just did Into the Spider-Verse. We're going to be doing other movie reviews. Obviously, you're watching the Venom one. We got more coming up here pretty soon, including some we're catching up on still. And...
So yeah, plenty of stuff to look at on this channel. Overall, I want to say before we end this video, let's give our actual opinions of this.
Solid rating?
Yeah, what would you rate this?
Or a soft rating?
Oh God, no, you're not going to do it, are you?
I would give this movie a solid 2.5 turds in the wind.
You just had to do it, huh? Alright.
Of course. Do it.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably, I would probably give this just... My initial thoughts, feelings, this might change later as time goes on, but I'm thinking right now, maybe about 3 turds in the wind.
Now, to be clear, the more turds is better. That's how rating systems actually work. We're not saying that the more turds you have is the worse, but anyway.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and end this video then.
All right, that's going to be it for us this time. We'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll see you later.
Later.
So we're clear. Play-Doh turds do melt in the parking lot. Good to know. Mighty fine looking turd. It's a turd among men.
Yep.
Is that all? Is that the shots we're gonna get? For that, yeah. Okay. It's a funny name. Turd Ferguson. It's a big hat.